Welcome viewers to yet another interesting topic from this book, The Healing of the Inner Man. I am still your regular host, Oby Udeze. Today from this book, we'll be treating a wonderful topic titled, Wounds Are Necessary. You might be wondering what I mean by wounds. Wounds are necessary if there must be healing in our inner man. The usefulness and gain of wounds will motivate one to actually go through it. Healing is meant only for the wounded. Our Savior Jesus needed the wound to accomplish healing. It was the wounds in Jesus that determined how far God went with him. It has always been the ordinance of God to depend on wounds to establish the value of men. Those who dodge wounds have no value. Wounds are useful. Jesus conquered Satan and death through the wound of death. We are in an era that men must pay price before God blesses other people. Jesus paid from receiving 39 stripes, which is what took care of all sicknesses of men. It is an honor to be wounded by God to produce glory. The gain of living lies in wounds. Jesus suffered the most wounds according to the book of Isaiah 52, 13 to 14. In fact, the pain of Jesus' wound made him die. It does not take God anything to stop such pain upon Jesus, but he allowed it on Jesus because of the gain of wounds. It is in wounds that the value of men is introduced and preserved. It was the wound upon Jesus that eventually made it possible for him to become the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The resurrection of Jesus wouldn't have been possible if he hadn't gone through pain. Every visionary man goes through pain of wounds to produce God's eternal glory. We should learn to hide in our wounds because immortality and living forever is practically for those who take and hide in wounds. Always remember that there is gain in wounds. We are in a problematic world where our help is needed. The solution of a problem lies in our relevance. It is only wounds that make you relevant. Our enthronement comes from the problems we are able to solve. Jesus became a solution through his value and relevance. Becoming King of Kings and Lord of Lords was through the death and resurrection of Jesus, which enhances his relevance in making him a solution. There is no dodging of wounds. Wounds are essential as they put crowns on men. When the humanity of man is clothed with the divinity of God, such a man becomes a solution, just like Jesus, who enjoyed the benefit of the Son of God on the cross and then accomplished redemption. We should pay price for wounds for God to use us as solution to the problems of this fallen earth. Crown is meant for anyone who is a problem solver. There are different challenges of life and each one has a crown kept down for whoever will solve it. The crown we wear is determined by the problem our wounds is able to solve. Our preservation is in the problem our wound is able to solve. I can't stop saying there is a crown associated with the pain of wounds. So long as such wound is not avoided, then there must be manifestation of crown. You cannot have your natural life and still want to live forever or want healing in your inner man. We know men die to live. It is only wounds that can bring the dead to life. When men avoid necessary wounds that is required to make one die to self, then it will be difficult for the healing of the inner man to take place. It is a kind of sacrifice we make to ourselves, not to God. It is a kind of sacrifice we make to ourselves, not to God or any other person. Taking this kind of wounds is the only way we can make impact on earth. The benefit of wound cannot be overemphasized. Our value is estimated from the price demand of God we are willing to pay. Successful living and healing of the inner man start from looking at a definite direction. Where you look at is determined first by where you stand to look. The moment people start looking in a wrong direction, they die. Dying here is synonymous to not seeing yourself. If one cannot see himself, it will be difficult for that person to see others. Seeing others is another way of taking wounds, just like Jesus took wounds for all of us by dying on the cross. The awesomeness of definite looking cannot be overlooked. It is mental depravity and poverty for a man not to know where to look at and what to see also. There is a need to see yourself clearly so you can begin to see every other things. The moment we begin to see ourselves clearly, we are delivered from the danger of self-destruction. Those who cannot see wander about aimlessly. Those who wander about cannot be free from self-damage. The danger of self-destruction must be put into consideration, so we cannot put away or abandon our duty to God. The moment people lack the prowess of looking at the right direction, everything gets wrong. Seeing what you are not meant to see is the same as looking in a wrong direction. While we have come to the end of today's episode from this awesome book, I will see you same time next week. Thank you for always coming around on my channel. I love you plenty. Bye.